Hi guys, hope you're well. Just a quick precursor to the actual video itself. I just felt like I wanted to chat with you, not necessarily just with if you're a creative person particularly, just with people in general. I talk about frustration, I talk about concerns that we might be having and that I may be having that are similar to frustration. The pressure that we get, the pressure we put on ourselves, and just some things that might be affecting many of us, especially at a time like this. I hope we can sort of take something from this. I hope you may be able to relate to some of it. And thank you very much for watching. Right, hello, welcome back to the channel. For those of you that haven't been here before, my name's Joe. This is a place where it's a bit of a photography community, or just creative community, I suppose, where we try and teach each other something. You might get something from me, hopefully I get something back in terms of tips and ideas. But today, I'm not going to be talking about that, or at least not totally. I wanted to talk about frustration, which is something that's been sort of hitting me a bit recently. But not just in a creative sense, not just photography, not just creatively, in quite a few avenues of life, areas of life or whatever. And you might be watching this as someone who isn't a photographer or isn't really keen on creative stuff. I wouldn't say someone who's not creative, because I think everyone's creative. It's just the line that, it's a bit blurred as to what creativity is, but you might not be actively pursuing creative activities and interests. So you might be an accountant who just does your thing, grafts, and then whatever it might be. You might not be particularly creative, whatever that means. But I feel like there's probably something in here that we can all relate to, and we're just going to chat about it. So personally, I think with restrictions, with lockdown, things like that, that's, whilst it seems all encompassing, that's kind of like the cage. Like, we're all we're all having to try and operate within our normal routines and get on with things that we normally would still have to do. But then at the same time, we're going to have to be resourceful, because we're locked down, we're restricted, we're having to do everything on Zoom and Microsoft Teams and whatever it might be. And it's trickier. And of course, there's an exception. You might live somewhere where there's not such strong restrictions. You might work a job that requires you to carry on as normal. And of course, there's obviously different. Not everyone's in the same boat, but a lot of people are having that same struggle. And I think it's frustrating as well, because you want to progress, and you want to better, or a lot of people might personally want to better myself and want to progress and want to push, for example, not only my photography, whilst that's most definitely something I want to push and improve on and better myself on in my photography, my YouTube, my Instagram page for my photography. It's not just that. As a university student personally, I want to do well. And you out there in your job or at school or in your hobbies, you might want to improve and do better. And it's almost like in your head, there's still that need to do better. But like, you're handicapped because you can't do everything as you wish you could, if that makes sense. But that's how I feel. So it's almost like playing football, but you start out with 2 less men on the field, or whatever. Or you playing tennis and you're already a set down before you even start, or whatever your thing is. You're running, you're taking part in athletics, but you have to run 110 meters while everyone else has to run 100. It's like you still want to do well, and in certain areas you're still expected to do well as well, but it's harder. And you want to push yourself, but it's harder. And that's quite a tricky thing, or at least I personally find that tricky, because I don't want to stagnate, and I don't want to just, I don't want to be mediocre, I suppose. But at the same time, it's tricky to work around that when my photography boundary, the world that is normally accessible to photographers, or can be accessible to photographers and other creatives and just people, instead of that being everywhere and anywhere, that is a few mile radius, which is mostly just houses, trees, and the odd pond, lake or hill. It is frustrating. It's frustrating because you want to, like I mentioned it in my last video, I want to go out there and I want to check out some urban areas and do some more street photography, shoot at night, go to different rural areas and shoot different landscapes. And one thing I definitely do want to do is that street photography. I want to shoot more portraits with a wider range of people. I want to go on more shoots, push my circle, really, and try and get myself out there a bit more. But it's tough. It's not only is it tough, it can't happen. That stuff that I've just mentioned can't happen. And time waits for no man. So while I can't do all that, I'm still getting older. So is everyone else. I've still got to carry on with my degree. You've still got to carry on with whatever your thing is, whether that's work, whether that's being a parent, whether that's school, whether that's all of the above, whatever your thing is. That harks back to that analogy of playing football with two less men. You've still got to carry on, you've still got to do it, but you're at a disadvantage. And that reflects personally for me in my photography, in that I want to push myself, but it's tough because there's certain things that are off limits. And it's in a creative sense, and I don't want to talk too much in a creative sense because I want to be able to resonate with just anyone really, but in a creative sense, you could say that, okay, you're restricted. That's a good test of your creativity, right? You can push yourself, and whilst you're restricted physically, geographically, you can't go everywhere and shoot all the cool stuff. Your creative abilities are then pushed, I suppose. You're not strained, but challenge yourself to see what you can do with limited resources. And that's true, yeah, but at the same time, it's like you don't get, teachers don't say to kids at school, right, complete this worksheet, but you've got a blunt pencil, go on, push yourself, test yourself, do it with that pencil, find a way of overcoming that. Like, it's a bit like, come on, that's just a weird analogy, but I don't know, that's just how I'm trying to not rationalise it, but visualise it, I suppose, in that it's trickier and it's frustrating. Like, I you want to get out there and you want to put yourself in front of people. If you're just working your job, whatever that may be, you might think like, I want to put myself in front of more people and show my abilities to more people, more employers, more peers, or as a student. And that reflects personally for me as well in my photography, yet again, and most aspects of life, but definitely my photography, in that I want to be able to put myself out there. And that's where the internet is really handy, right? I can still try and get out to people, whether that's with YouTube, with Instagram, my other socials, whatever. That's great, but it's still not quite the same. In an ideal world, you'd have real life and the internet, but right now we're just working off the internet. But it's just frustrating. It's like, I don't know. But I think a lot of people are in that boat. And not to get too like feeling sorry for myself, but I'm still pretty fortunate in that there's people out there in a much more unfortunate position than me. So I don't want to complain or moan too much, do you know what I mean? But at the same time, the frustration is still there. And I think it's tough think it's tough because I'm not sure how to explain it, but frustration is like something's just hanging off you, weighing you down, and things just aren't going right, and you haven't got the ideas flowing, and you don't know what to make videos about, and you don't know what photos to shoot and edit to make your Instagram more interesting and appeal to more people. So you get stuck in a rut, and the rut just continues and continues and continues. And as soon as you get a tiny bit of traction that pulls you out of that rut and you just get over that speed bump, it helps. You kind of get over it. But that's the tricky part, is getting that traction, getting that momentum to get yourself out of that rut and ease the frustration. And maybe that's just what personally is weighing me down. I don't know, it's that rut, that tricky patch. But yeah, frustration is something that is hard to quantify and hard to measure, but we all know it and we all experience it, and it makes me feel like I can't improve and I can't show myself to people. I can't push myself and make people think, whoa, that's cool, check him out. And I can't grow and I can't improve my game, essentially, metaphorical game. And my hub of photography, which is my Instagram mainly, I want to grow that. I want to make it big. I want to go big. Like, think big, start small, of course, but I want to go big. I'm not trying to mess around. And while I'm grateful for what I've got, I don't want to just settle for that. I want to push myself. And the frustration is that feeling of not having the ability, that's not the right way of putting it, but the frustration is the restrictions of not being able to go big for me on that, for example, on my Instagram. But if we just use that as an example, and grow my photography and put it in front of people that can take note. Maybe this makes no sense, maybe this is just a strange ramble, but maybe it can resonate, parts of this can resonate with some people. But frustration is something that I'm experiencing at the minute with my creative disciplines, with my academic, university, with many of you are probably experiencing the same thing, or maybe it's just with life, maybe you're just feeling a bit rough, a bit down. I personally, I don't feel down, but there's plenty of people out there that do. Maybe it's worry, maybe I'm concerned that I won't reach there, concerned that I won't get myself over the line of getting good gigs in photography and earning some money through it, maybe even going professional, which is something I want to do, whether that's commercially or not, or artistically, anything. I just like taking photos, telling stories, I suppose. But it probably is the concern that I won't get there, even though I'm trying. But I've just got to have belief, I suppose, and I suppose that goes for everyone. We've just got to keep pushing. But I think there is a subtle concern that's nagging in the back of my head. Yeah. Well, I could talk for a while, but I can't. I could, but I can't sit here forever. So thank you for listening. If you got this far, that's ridiculous, but I'm much appreciated. I just don't expect anyone to. If you even clicked on this video, thank you. Never mind getting this far. Thank you for watching. Let's chat. If you want to comment, if you want to check out my Instagram and DM me, whether it's creative, whether it's not, this channel is about that community feel. So thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Sorry for rambling. Check out my links below, any other videos, whatever it may be. Check out my photography on Instagram. And thank you once again. I've said it too many times, not too many times, but a lot of times. Thank you for watching. I need to shut up. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.